Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us today for this iteration of our Salute to Industry. I'm Sandy Artman. I'm an Army veteran of 30 years, and today I'm joined by Angie Fair, my counterpart, and Bryan Acton of Peraton. Angie, over to you.
Hey, and I'm Angie Fair. Thanks for joining us for our Salute to Industry series. I'm an active duty Army spouse and actively participate with our employer engagement program. And we are just delighted to have Bryan from Peraton joining us today. Bryan has been in talent acquisition for 20 plus years, and he's been with Peraton for the last 4 as their military and veterans program lead. He is both a United States Army and Marine veteran, and we are just delighted to have a conversation with him today. Bryan, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Angie. Glad to be here and support the INSET program, and, proud to be a partner as well.
Yeah, awesome. So we have pretty strong connections with Peraton, and we work closely with your organization to post your roles and send qualified candidates your way. But you've been in talent acquisition for quite some time now. What led you to Peraton?
Well, I actually became part of Peraton as part of an acquisition several years ago. As many may know, working in the Department of Defense, U.S. government contracting world, a lot of organizations will do acquisitions and sell-offs or buy-ins and what have you. So I actually came here as part of one of those programs. I used to actually be part of Northrop Grumman over there in their talent acquisition division over there. And one day was called and told that I was sold to another organization, and voila, I became part of Peraton. But it's been a fantastic journey for me, though. At the same time, I've really enjoyed becoming part of Peraton, and this is where I plan on staying for a very long time.
Awesome.
Well, that's great. That's great. So, Bryan, you're with Peraton now. So what is it about your company? What can you tell me about your company? What are some of the types and roles? Are there any remote roles? Benefits, culture, values, any other promotional detail, any promotion potential with any of the positions that you're currently trying to fill?
Sure, absolutely. So one thing I do really enjoy about Peraton is really the size of Peraton and the impactfulness of the work that we do. So with a lot of the roles here at Peraton, of course, it's a lot of cybersecurity, IT related, data science, data analytics, machine learning, AI, space and intelligence type of work. Most of it's cleared at the top secret level and higher. But of course, we're such a large organization, though, too. We do have just about every other type of supporting role that you can imagine. So we are roughly a 19,000 person size organization, of which we are roughly a 35 to 3,800 veteran participating organization. Unfortunately, we don't keep statistics on military spouses. That's not something we can certainly track at this time. But I know we do partner well with INSET, so we do have a lot of military spouses employed here as well. But some of the benefits of working at Peraton is going to be, the work that we do. It's very impactful work. It's a national security organization, so it is a lot of work with the Department of Defense and a lot of U.S. government agencies. Some of the key pieces for me with Peraton is certainly going to be work-life balance. Work, that's really important to someone like myself. So having that work-life balance, the accountability to that, and the ability to pursue other things other than just working in your life is definitely a core value for me. And it's like I said, the impactfulness of the work. We are a global organization as well, so we do have roles across the globe at the same time. And that also supports, some of our military veteran community as well as our military spouse community as well. So as those individuals are being transferred to other locations, chances are we probably have some work there that they can just transfer to at the same time. Because we do have what's also called, one of the benefits of working at Peraton is we have a workforce planning program, which includes a family first program within there. For folks to be able to transfer or maneuver within the organization, because we do understand the value that our employees bring along with, our veterans and our military spouses and some of the things that they go through, career wise. So we do have an internal program that's focused solely on reintegrating those folks into other roles within the organization so they don't have to leave Peraton to take a role somewhere else should they be moving or want some career progression. As a large organization, we have a lot of work out there. So there's a lot of ample opportunity for career progression if you're looking to grow your career at the same time. Plus, we also do have benefits programs that include certifications, educational programs as well. So if you're looking to further your education or get certifications to become more qualified or more employable at the organization, we have programs that help pay for those as well.
Well, that's just fantastic. A lot of great programs, it sounds like. And then, loving what you do when, your work. It's not work, it's important work. It's impactful work, as you say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I love hearing about all of that because people are your most valuable asset. So allowing them to grow and maintain within the organization is very valuable. So we just celebrated Veterans Day this week, and I know everyone, it's easy to see the intrinsic value that veterans and military spouses bring to any organization. But why specifically do you think Peraton is interested in hiring from the military and veteran population?
Well, for us, it really simple. Probably one of the simplest reasons really is mission alignment. A lot of the work we do with the Department of Defense and the U.S. government aligns directly with what our transitioning service members, veterans, and military spouses have been encountering most of their careers or life while being part of the Department of Defense, whatever branch that they've served in. They also come with adaptability at the same time, the resilience, understanding that, the work you work on changes on a regular basis. Sometimes the work changes, you don't know why, but the government said it's changing, so that's what we got to do. Those types of things. The commitment to service as well. I think Peraton strides itself on the effort we put into focusing on our military veterans and spouses at the same time. As my program signifies that, as we have 3 full-time employees dedicated to working specifically only with transitioning service members, veterans, and spouses to help them kind of concierge them through the process of ideally getting employed here at the same time. And there's not a lot of organizations, in my opinion, that really take it to that level. They also bring a cultural fit as well. When you start looking at the programs we work on, the places we work on them at a lot of government bases, a lot of government facilities, the folks fit in right in those locations, certainly much easier. They understand the atmosphere very well. And it also brings a diversity of experience at the same time, which is obviously key when you're a growing organization at the pace that Peraton's growing, and you have individuals that can come in and be adaptable and resilient to the rapid changing pace and environment on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's great. I always love to hear people's commitment, an organization's commitment to hiring from the community. And it makes complete sense, business sense for the line of work that you all do.
Absolutely.
So that's great. You mentioned 3 full-time employees dedicated to assisting in the transition or the onboarding of military and veteran and spouse candidates. So this leads me, it's a great segue into the next question. What can a candidate expect in the application and interview process at Peraton? And do you have any tips?
I absolutely do. That's kind of what I do here for the most part, is really help concierge folks through the process because it can be kind of a daunting process. And there's so much stuff. I could probably spend 3 hours on this, honestly, but I'll keep it short today. The big one for me is certainly qualification. Don't leave your qualifications ambiguous. So when you're applying to roles and you see roles on our career board and we list those requirements out, be specific in how qualified you are towards those requirements. Leaving it ambiguous, if we have to guess, it's just a no. We don't really read into it further, or we're not going to reach out and ask for further clarification. If it's not in there, it's not in there. The big one on the application side would be clearance. While most of the roles here at Peraton do require some sort of clearance, we do have a lot of work out there, though. So there is some uncleared work. There's public trust work, secret work, TS work, and even higher. But within that, you'll see roles in there too, where clearance is stated that it's a requirement for the role. But we do have roles that will help sponsor a clearance they're not as many, but when you see the wording ability to obtain in the clearance area, that's your signal that that's one you can still be qualified for if you don't currently have the clearance.
Okay, so that's great. That was going to be one of my additional questions was, do you sponsor? Because we get so many candidates that, as you're well aware, when you transition out, they turn your clearance off. And there's a 6 month to a year window where they can easily turn it back on. But if they've exceeded that, then we're talking about sponsoring the clearance piece again. So that's really wonderful to hear that Peraton does have that ability and is willing to do that in some cases.
It is in some cases, unfortunately, it's not every role that we have.
Right.
But, also, I certainly do suggest folks that are really kind of clearance hunting, if you will, that have a great skill set, but just haven't been able to penetrate the market because they're missing a clearance, to definitely, reach out to our military and veterans program. We do have some roles that can assist in getting that, especially, if you're a military spouse, or, pursuing it, post-education and anything like that, that'll help get through that at the same time.
Okay, great.
Great. I know as I'm out and about, I often see Peraton at different events, but within our community. Are there any specific military-related activities or events that Peraton supports or participates in?
Absolutely. I appreciate the question, Angie. This is the time for me to plug my personal event that I do here at Peraton. So we actually do a monthly live video podcast webinar, if you will, with our team. That's 2 hours long every month. It's actually, the next one's this Friday. And it's kind of supposed to mirror the transition process in a 6-month period for transitioning service members. But really, the information that we deliver in those podcasts are pretty much relevant to anybody that's a candidate or, applying to roles here at Peraton. We really cover, formatting a resume. I know a lot of folks talk about the content, but we also talk about properly formatting a resume that talent acquisition individuals like myself can handily read and qualify you easily. We talk about social networking for job searching, preparing for the interview using the job description and the STAR method. God, that's there's so many that we really cover, but that's kind of the basic one right there. But we also do participate in a large amount of career fairs and events, some that we go to like Clear Jobs, those type of things. But we also have our own internal large events that we hold. We are holding tomorrow on November 14th, a coast to coast hiring event as well. So we do those type of things. But if you go to careers.peraton.com /events, you'll see the full list of events that Peraton's participating in as an organization as well.
Is that where we can find information to join your webinar on Friday?
It is, absolutely. So it is on our military page as well. So if you just go to peraton.com and you make your way, on the top right scroll bar, it says military veterans page. We have all that information listed on there as well as military friendly related jobs, if you will, that folks coming out of the military are significantly qualified for.
Awesome. And in the write-up of this, we'll include that link so Perfect. That our viewers will be able to have quick access to
That'd
it.
be nice.
Yeah. Okay. So wrapping up, is there anything additional that you'd like to add or share as we wrap up this little interview today?
Absolutely. Some of it I already touched on earlier, but one of the things I really like to touch on is timing is really everything when applying for roles. There's no secret sauce to it, if you will. It's really timing is everything. And I can tell you an organization like Peraton here, we get 50 to 70,000 applications per month. So, I know a lot of folks get frustrated. Well, I never hear from anybody. Well, that's probably the reason we don't have the personnel power to respond to 50 to 70,000 applications per month. So if you don't hear anything, that's your signal that you were probably unqualified in that sense, because we do reach out to folks that are passing through the process, qualified, get an interview and stuff like that. Now, that's not the greatest answer in the world, but it's an answer so folks understand that, that's why you're not being contacted, because your resume may not even be speaking to what you're thinking it's saying. So to kind of segue into that, that's kind of, my age old saying that I say to folks, if you've been applying to a lot of jobs, I talk to a lot of folks that apply to a significant amount of roles here at Peraton. And I always tell them, if you're using the same resume and still getting the same none results, that's your signal to switch it up. So definitely reach out to our program, and we'd be happy to look at your resume and give you some better ideas to make a resume that catches attention. Because the idea scenario is a 10-second test. If I can look at your resume in 10 seconds and tell you what you do, that's a good signal.
For sure. Thanks for that. And we certainly are willing to help with tailoring and doing that 10-second test as well. So then by the time our job seekers make it over to you, hopefully they pass that test quickly and easily.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorite ones. Probably the resume class is probably one of my favorite ones, that and the social networking for the job search.
Awesome. Well, Bryan, thank you so much for your time, for giving us some background and information on Peraton, and some tips and tricks for job seekers that are interested in searching for Peraton roles.
Absolutely. I appreciate everyone's time. This has been a pleasure, and I look forward to doing something else in the future.
All right. Thanks, Bryan.
Have a good holiday season.
All right. You guys too.